As I've listened to the stories of thousands of women of all ages, in all kinds of stages, through the years, I've kept their stories locked in the vault of my heart. I feel as if they've been walking around with me all through these years. They've bothered me. They've prodded me. And sometimes kept me up at night. Ultimately, they've increased my passion to reframe and reimagine the powerful positions of mother and matriarch within the family system. I'm a problem solver, so I set out to find a way to perhaps change the trajectory of this silent and sad scenario about a dynamic yet untapped source of potential and purpose sitting in our homes and churches. It is time to come to the table, Heartlifters, and unleash the power of maternal presence into the world. Welcome to Mothering for the Ages, our 2025 theme here on today's Heartlift. I'm Janelle. I am your guide here on this heartlifting journey. I invite you to grab a pen, a journal, and a cup of something really delicious. May today's conversation give you clarity, courage, and a revived sense of camaraderie. You see, you're not on this journey alone. We are unified as Heartlifters and committed to bringing change into the world, one heart at a time. Hello, Heartlifters. I am so excited today to bring you Jennifer Ripley, Dr. Ripley, but I guess I can call you Jennifer. Hello, Jennifer. Welcome.
Hello. How are you today?
I'm doing so well. And Jennifer is just a hop, skip, and a jump from me. We are in the same area. And one day we will meet for coffee, tea, or something, hopefully.
Lovely.
Because I feel like we both have a passion for ministering to families in crisis. I have done that, but am moving forward into some other areas, as you well know, Heartlifters. This book, Ministering to Families in Crisis, the essential, that word is correctly placed, the essential guide for nurturing mental and emotional health. This is a title after my own heart, especially with that word nurturing. So just a short little peek behind the window of your publishing journey. Why was nurturing so important to put in this book that ministers to families in crisis?
I think that what we're doing is a type of ministerial care. It's kind of like the old pastoral care would be, but in the current age, we really do all minister to each other in a community, right? In a church and an extended family. There's an opportunity to be there in that moment. And I've had difficult moments in my own life. And I can tell you a caring, loving, nurturing person that sits in the balcony at church with me or who, notices me and says, "Hey, I see something going on with you. Would you like to get some coffee? I'd like to pray for you." In the right moment. Yeah. It just made all the difference. Yeah.
That happened to you.
Absolutely.
It did. Okay. I love that. Bravo to whoever noticed.
Yes. I shout out to Kelly. I call it there's a Kelly story. Kelly was sitting in the balcony and we weren't even really close friends, but she saw me like tearing up during service, and she just said, "Hey, I saw you. Would you like to get some time together? We can sit on my back porch." Wow. And man, the tears came and she caught them. She caught them. And that was
sit on my back porch. Yeah, I think that's the wave. I feel like that's the wave that the Holy Spirit is trying to encourage all of us to surf upon. It's, it definitely was foundational in my life after becoming a follower of Christ my senior year in college. I can't tell you how many kitchen tables I sat at with wiser women and back porches I sat on. And I know for me, I have totally gotten away from that, having a more public ministry. It's like, the stage has become the back porch and et cetera, et cetera. And I think COVID stripped me of that for sure, being
Mm,
housed and locked down for, I would say, 2.5 years, honestly, or three. For me, it took me a while to come back out. I think that is what the Holy Spirit is inviting each one of us to do more of, to
mhm,
be a Kelly,
mhm,
to be
mhm,
someone who notices. You said the word, right? I mean,
mhm.
that's everything. How many times do we
That's,
just flurry in the hallways of our churches, or we used to,
mm,
to get here, get there, get the kids here, get that. So it's just helping everyone, excuse me, understand, as you say, establishing hope amid the storm of family crisis. I couldn't get past the first paragraph of this book,
oh, mm,
chapter one. I couldn't get past it. Number one, I love art,
oh,
and artwork speaks to my soul. And Jennifer, you write about this beautiful but now stolen artwork of Rembrandt, The Storm on the Sea of Galilee. I just wrote, "You had me," with the first paragraph. As you can see, it is underlined, it is
look at
underscored.
you.
I want a
Look at
Lectio
you.
Divina it. I want to get it. You encourage us. I'm going to get to that, to look at it, get it online, look at it, spend some time with it, and I'll probably close with that. Tell me why this piece of artwork, it's in your home. Why did it
Mhm.
arrest your attention, especially as a marriage and family therapist, but also as a woman, as a mother?
That's right. As a woman, as a mother. So this is part of my COVID journey as well. So I was stuck in my house also for a really long time. And you're fine for about 3 months. And then you start to kind of hit just feeling alone and
Twitch.
dark.
Mhm.
And so the Renovari Ministry, actually, if you know them out in
Oh,
Colorado,
I
they
do.
had a kind of like a group spiritual direction class, very short. It was like 3 classes with somebody. And the person who led that class did a meditation on that artwork.
Oh,
So
well,
pick
I'm
that
going
up.
to look in the files.
You have to, and it was wonderful. I've done it with my students now in the
Oh,
classroom as a short version of it, but very quickly you really can put the artwork up on your computer and then look at each of the characters
yeah.
and consider which one of these is me in difficult times. One of them is like retching over the side of the
Yes.
ship. One is like
Yes.
holding the mast, trying to, I'm going to like make it happen. We're going to get this ship to the other side, everybody.
Yes.
So there's people having all these different reactions. Rembrandt was just brilliant. And there's Jesus
Oh,
down in the bottom of the boat, just lit up barely. You can see him. And it's like he just woke up, and everyone's around him going, "Hello, why are you asleep?" Right? Jesus, when are you going to wake up? So it was really a good meditation to go through. And I think that's how you feel when your family goes through a crisis
oh,
of various types. You feel like, they're happening in a group too. So in a family, you'll have one person who's like, I guess we're just going to sit here and do nothing because nothing's going to work. And another person who says, okay, we need to get a therapist and we need to get a medical doctor and we need to get, let's fix this. Let's fix this, yeah, exactly. And but do we stop and go sit? And so the thing that
mm,
was so moving and meaningful, I will never forget,
mm.
about what God told me in the midst of this particular meditation was, what do you want, Jen? Like God was saying, what do you want in this moment? And I
Ooh.
went and I sat down next to Jesus and I just took his hand. I said, I just want you to hold my
Oh,
hand.
oh,
Yeah.
wow.
It was very moving. It still moves me when I
I can see.
remember it. And
Hmm.
just a sense like when times are difficult, what do I need? I just need Jesus with me. I need to know that I am not alone and Jesus is with me.
I want my heart lifters to really hear that you took the time to go sit and contemplate, we would say in the spiritual formation practices, right? To just open your palms, open your heart, make the space. Oh, and I see the tear coming down your eye. It's so precious. Oh,
Yeah.
to just wait.
Mhm.
And that is what we're trying to do in this community is really to activate these practices of silence, stillness, solitude,
Right.
which seem to be coming into fruition again. But in our very active, busy
Mhm.
churches, we don't do a lot of this unless perhaps you are in a more liturgical church setting. And so you took the time to exhale, to go sit with that image in your mind. And the Holy Spirit said, Jesus said, what do you want right now? What do you need right now? And you had the wherewithal to go, I just need to hold your hand. So you needed some somatic work. You needed some, touching,
Right.
right?
That's right. That's exactly it. Yeah.
And
And having that strong sense of like, I'm right here. My hand is available at any moment,
what gives
always
me a chance?
available. Yeah.
Gives me a chance.
Mhm.
Isn't that what we all really, really want? I share a lot.
Mhm.
I've had a lot of time in hospitals in the last decade with my mother, my daughter, myself, my husband, just lots and lots. And it's that chapel inside the hospital, you know,
Mhm.
where you just
Mhm.
can find, you really can find that quiet moment. And I just had one. And I asked, my question was, what am I missing? What am I
Mhm.
missing? It's
Mhm.
typically just
Mhm.
a question, it's a thought. It's never audible. It hasn't been audible for me. It's just a welling, like I saw your tears welling up, you know? It's this welling of, oh. So, this isn't comfortable for everyone. It's not something that a lot of us have been trained in. So I appreciate you sharing beyond this story, how you went and took this time to sit at his feet, to be the
Mhm.
Mary, and be
I'm real
able.
good at being Martha too. I
Oh,
am a
yes.
Martha girl. I am. So when the merry moments come, it's
Woo!
memorable. It's memorable.
Get you.
So
I
true.
know. Dang it. Oh. But you write, being a capable minister to families is like being a qualified sailor. You are skilled in sailing various storms and sea conditions. I love this metaphor.
Mm.
Now, are you a qualified sailor? Or did you just dive in, pun intended, to seeing, those images in Rembrandt's painting
Mm.
and going, boy, that's really a family in crisis. It really is. Because he captures all the different personalities. So, how is the question then a capable minister to families? And I consider moms and dads ministers to their families being a qualified sailor. How is that the same? Explain that to me.
That's right. That's right. So yes, the first minister for every family is the parents in the
Thank you.
family, or it's supposed to be, and that would be God's ideal for us. So
Yes.
that is our role, is to just be disciple makers to our kids. And
Mm.
so if you are a parent or an aunt, aunts and
Yes.
uncles have their roles as well,
Grandmother.
grandparents, obviously. In fact, there's some research that says grandmothers are one of the primary ways that children come to know the Lord,
I
is
have
for the
heard that. Send me
grandmothers.
that research,
Hmm.
please. I, I
Hmm.
just, I have heard that. Lacey Finn Borgo, another guest who's an incredible spiritual director, and she's part of Renovari, actually.
Oh,
I
right,
know
right,
of her,
right.
but she shared that with me as well. I've just become a grandmother.
Ah,
So
well,
I have 5 little
congratulations.
ones in the last 2.5 years. My children just
Wow.
decided we're all going to have children. So
At the
all
same time.
the
Well,
same
that's
time.
going to be so much fun when they're all 16. You're going to love
Oh,
that.
I am. They live all over the place, but we will,
Yeah.
we will, we will gather. Yes.
Yes, yes.
So grandmothers particularly is definitely a heartbeat of
Hmm.
mine, of course now, and as just as being a mother was. So why a qualified sailor?
Right.
What does that call me
Right.
to be?
So, one of the things as a psychologist that I've learned is that there is research and there are experts who have worked in particular areas to help people with a variety of types of crises. Most of us in our personal life will face a crisis once or maybe twice in
Oh,
your
wow.
life, right?
Okay.
So, you're not going
Wow.
to face every crisis as a family, I
Thank
hope.
the Lord.
Thank
Yes.
the Lord, right?
Yes.
So what we did for this book is we put together myself and another psychologist and a spiritual formation theologian. That there's three editors, and we said, okay, what are the issues that we think families face, and let's find some good experts so that when you face a mental health crisis and you've never done that before, you can read the chapter by Steve Gresovich, who is a psychiatrist who loves Jesus and does ministry with the church often in Christian communities on mental illness.
Let me throw in here.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank you. I would not have been able to pronounce Gresovich.
yeah.
Here are the contents. I want you to hear this because I want you to take this to your church leadership for sure. But there are many, so I'm just going to run through them. Establishing hope amid the storm of family crisis, spiritual formation, which these first two chapters are the ones we're going to talk about today because I couldn't get past them. Strategies to discern marriage and family health and functioning. Well, if we can get to that, amazing. Care and support of families impacted by mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I think it's rare to find a family not impacted
Not. That's right.
in the day and
That's
age
right.
that we're living in. LGBTQ plus issues in marriage ministry. So many.
Yeah. We all have friends, if not, yeah. Mm-hmm.
We have to be qualified sailors.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have to know how to navigate that as a follower of Jesus, as a person who is in a church, because families are dealing with this. Ministering to
Sure.
families when children come out, very much a part of that. Domestic violence, church ministry. We know that COVID made domestic violence heighten, and go through the roof. Handling divorce as a ministry leader, tutorial from a family lawyer. Yes. You know, as a marriage and family therapist, how critical that is. We
That's right.
typically don't receive clients if things are going well. You know, it's
That's
lovely.
right.
And they do come for just checkups, but it's rare. Families affected by disability by Ryan Wolf. Amazing. Screens,
Good stuff.
children and teens. The challenges are real and you can help. Oh my gosh, this is so comprehensive. Adults and screens. Hello. Race, discrimination, and stress, ministering to families in poverty and financial crisis, right around the corner in my neck of the woods. The
Mm-hmm.
challenge of helping couples in conflict. Sign me up. My husband and I came from alcoholic homes. We did not know how to deal with conflict. We're just learning that now after 40 years of marriage. Trauma in families, ministering when the unimaginable happens, and it does.
It does.
Ministry to
Mm-hmm.
blended families, families and addictions. Yes. Families aging and caregiving. I mean, yes. I'm old enough to have actually lived through each one of these chapters. So thank you for the comprehension that you have given to this, to all of these needs. So getting back to that again, being a qualified sailor just means I don't have to be an expert. You brought in the experts.
Right. We brought in people who can say, hey, this is what is common to happen if you're
Mm-hmm.
going through a trauma and you have numbing and you have experiences of wanting to just run away from it all,
Mm-hmm.
then that is normal. This is a common experience, right? And so helping people to understand what's common, what kinds of things that they can expect to see, and how they can try to respond to each other within the family or within the church community.
Yes,
In a little more skilled way. Yeah.
which in turn, for myself, I am going to turn to an expert because there are just so many things happening in the world today. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you can't know everything, and navigating a family and raising children. Good Lord, I think of my children who are going to have to navigate just the screen issue. Just the
Oh, yeah.
screen issue. I did not navigate that when I was raising my children. Might have to have you back just for that, because I know that that's
Oh,
such a
we have a great chapter on that. Yeah, Kathy Koch is well known and speaks frequently as an educational mentor, psychologist, and
great.
she had great, very practical ideas for
Good.
families because you go to the doctor and the doctor just says, "Don't let them watch TV or screens more than an hour a day," right?
Yeah,
And that's it.
right. It'll ruin
But
them.
there's no yeah, you'll ruin them.
You'll
Like, well,
ruin
it's
them.
too late. You're already ruined. They're 3 years old and you're already, like
You're toast.
I know, we're toast, right? We've had it. But what she does is she gives it a bit of a Christian discipleship understanding. How do we
Okay.
disciple the kids in our lives? And then there's a chapter for the adults among us too, right?
Oh,
We have one for the
yes.
adults and one for the kids. Arlene Pellicane wrote the adult one. Experts in these topics to have very practical, how do we disciple children, and then how do we steward this technology that we're
Hmm.
living with as
Yeah.
Christians and have an understanding of it and a
Hmm.
little bit of exhortation from them, but not so much that you just like, oh, forget it. I've ruined my kid. I've ruined my
Hmm.
life. I might as well give up.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. So
it was very encouraging. Yeah.
that's a tease, because I can just, I know if I was listening to this, I'd be like, tell me. Okay. So we will address that. I will address that over on Instagram, give you tips, and on my Substack,
There you
Heartland
go.
Central. So just a little invitation, because we can't get it all inside of this short time that
No,
we
I
have
know.
with Jennifer, because this book is so comprehensive, but I will do my best. You write, being part of a family. No one enters the world without a family.
Mhm.
The family ministry stereotype includes images of a young couple with little children. Everyone looks perfect. Oh, we sure do on the gram. The images convey tranquility, order, relational perfection, void of tension, conflict, or sorrow. The concept of family is complicated, even messy.
Mhm.
And I underline this: it transcends the boundaries of the nuclear unit, extending far beyond the confines of a singular household. You have grandparents raising children, single parents, foster families in your church. Even those who attend church alone have family members somewhere. One pastor said this was daunting, but I can get it. I haven't seen a quote, normal, typical, end quote,
Mhm.
family come to my
Mhm.
church in years.
Mhm.
Talk to me. I can
And
read the
that
rest, but I think I would love for you to talk to me about that.
Yeah. And that happens. Even the families that look like, oh,
Hmm.
there's a mom and a dad and 3 kids.
Hmm.
If you sit down and you talk with them for a little bit, you find out, his parents divorced. She grew up in foster care for a little bit. They've got a nephew who they're worried about is in jail. Like
Hmm.
just extend the family out a little bit. If
Hmm.
you don't have something like that happening with a disability or a mental
Hmm.
health problem or poverty or something,
Hmm.
that would be an extremely rare family, right?
Hmm.
So I go back in my own family. I just have to go back to my mother grew up in poverty
Hmm.
and didn't have enough to eat often, right? And that has an effect on her and our family long
Hmm.
term, even
Yeah.
though she was able to protect me from that and I didn't have to, but she did. And
Yeah.
so you just have those kinds of experiences in the family that get passed
Right.
down and they have legacies. Yeah. Mhm.
We do have legacies, and we know now with epigenetics, we know now that your egg was in your mother and in the grandmother. And I mean, we know all of these things. So
Mhm.
extended families, expansive embrace was what I underlined here. I'll just read this. Regardless of one's life journey, la la la. While contemporary society often emphasizes the nuclear family structure, the true richness of familial experience lies in the extended family's expansive embrace. So I just got back from spending time with my daughter and my son-in-law and sweet baby June, who's 6 weeks plus. And I see that sentence
Mm,
in real life, right?
right.
And then I'll fly to Kansas to be with my son, daughter-in-law. Well, my daughter-in-law's got a whole Midwest family, so that's a whole new thing for me because I'm basically was raised East Coast. My son-in-law that I just got back was from California. And then my other daughter lives in Belgium. Her husband's Uruguayan
Wow.
from South America. So it's it's like it's all coming into an expanded understanding of my role as a mother, but my role as a grandmother and mother-in-law. Holy moly, moly. Ooh, that's a
Right.
lot to
It's a lot.
navigate.
Yeah. It's a
I
lot to
I
navigate.
have to be a qualified sailor. And I have heard so many mamas of adults, children going, where's my book? Someone help me navigate adult parenting,
Right. Right. Right.
And I
And
feel like this is
there's
a great book. This is
a,
this is so helpful.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of great books out there, but often it's an entire book on a topic, right? Like, so
That's
you'll get a
correct.
big
Hmm.
300 pages on it. And in real life, for most of us, if I can get a chapter read on a
Yep,
topic that is pressing to me, I'm doing pretty good
that's
in the real
correct.
world. And I'm a professor, right? Like that's kind of reading is kind of my
And
thing,
you wrote the book. Right.
And
Exactly.
so I'm sympathetic to that experience of like if you are a mama, you're an aunt, you're a grandma, you're a mother-in-law,
Hmm.
or you're a dad listening to this, then how do you minister and such of a heart to do that, right? Like you want to be that blessing
Oh,
to the next generation.
say it,
You
please.
want to
Say
be
it.
that,
Say it again
right?
and again and again.
You want to be that blessing. You want to have wise words to say when they
Yes.
say, hey, my child has ADHD and I am so frustrated with the school system. What do I do? You know,
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm
Where do
struggling
I
with a
start?
disability.
Hmm.
Where do I even start? Right. And you
Yep.
want to have something to offer and have
Hmm.
some common wisdom for them. So that's
Hmm.
why we found these really great experts who could
Hmm.
help us out. Or, you end up with a step family in the family. We had that happen in my
Yes.
extended family where we were like, oh, okay, well, the rules change in step families
Mm-mm.
and things don't work the same as in
No,
a biological or growing up together family. So we all
no.
had to learn about it, and I went out and read things about step families, and I'm a family psychologist because
Yeah.
I wanted to be a better aunt and a better sister to them,
That's what I want. I love
Yeah.
that is what
Mhm.
I love so much what you just said. I wanted to be a better aunt. I want to be a better sister. I want to be a better mother. I want to be a better grandmother. I love that word better. I love it so much because it's just a mindset. It's like the better mindset. We don't have to be the best, even though Paul does encourage us, to be excellent. And I write a lot about that in one of my books, can't remember. But it's a heart that is set on being Christ-like. Is there any other way to say it?
That's right. That's
So
right.
you really
Mhm.
encourage Jennifer, which is, just look at all these highlights. Compassion.
Mhm.
Because I feel like I can be, I don't, I know I can be a grudge holder. I can be judgy, very judgy. And I feel like more so now as an adult parent, a parent of adult children, we still can't find the right term. They're not really children, but they're
I know,
adults. And what do we
right?
call them? But you write, our voyage, back in that sailing terminology, begins with a simple yet profound call to compassionate ministry. The heart of Christ's teachings lies in love and compassion. We have a sacred
Yeah.
duty to extend compassionate care to those navigating the turbulent seas of family crisis. Why did you focus in on compassionate care?
That is the major description of who God is, right? He is compassionate, slow to anger, and compassionate, right? That is his description. And it's really easy in a family to go to anger. It's really easy to go to judgment, right?
It
We
is.
all can very much say, oh, well,
Mhm.
You shouldn't have done that. Now
Right.
you let your kid watch too much TV,
Oh, yeah.
and too many
Yeah.
screens, and that's why they have ADHD. And just,
Mhm.
so sorry for you.
And
I feel
siblings
good about
judging
me.
each other's parenting. That's
I
that's that's where we're talking about the ripples effects, right? As a family navigates all of this newness and these new relationships. And then it just goes down to siblings and how each might really parent differently.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And just to have compassion on that. And I was the big sister as a kid who was not compassionate. This was really a sermon to myself, honestly.
Tell us,
And,
please,
and
talk
so
to us.
it's real. My little brothers, they were just not. I had three younger brothers, and it's so
Oh.
easy to just kind of be, they just, I know what I'm doing and they don't. And boy, I think I caused some pain in their lives. I added to difficulties in their lives. And just such a redemptive moment when my brother went through some of his becoming a step family experience.
Mhm.
He came to me, and being able to love with compassion was a redemptive moment for me.
Oh,
Really,
wow.
truly, to be able to say, hey, what you're going through is really very hard,
Wow.
and I am here for you. I will do anything for you. I got my voice, I got my ears open. I'm
Hmm.
happy, and I can't take the pain away, but I can hold your hand like Jesus does, and I can sit with you, and I can be a part of your life. And fortunately, he only lives an hour away, so I actually do get
Lovely.
to be a part of his life frequently. And
Mhm.
so I think that for all of us in our family, we can have these moments where we look back and go, you know what? I kind of think I was kind of judgy. I was or I was distant. Like I saw you struggling,
Oh, yeah.
your kid or your aunt or your uncle or your grandparent even. You
Yeah.
saw them struggling, and you just, yeah, it's not my problem.
Not my
I'm not
problem,
gonna
not my
step
monkey, not my
in.
circus. Right.
Exactly, exactly.
Hmm.
And then, but having a wise understanding of how to be compassionate and to step in when it's appropriate to offer what you can, living in your limitations. I think that that's really super important for a family to do, and a church family to do, because this is not
Hmm.
just our biological family or our, legal families,
Right.
married in kind of stuff. This is also a church family can be
Yeah.
that kind of connection where you are sisters and
Hmm.
brothers to each other. Mhm.
I think it's expansive. I'll use that word again. It's just being a servant of Christ who is equipped at any moment, as Paul encourages us, be instant in season and out, right? And so, on many respects, the neighborhood I walk in becomes an extended family. I'm
Mm.
not intricately involved, but someone might stop and talk to me about something they're going through. That happens all the time. I was recently in a conversation with a woman who had never, ever had addiction touch her family until COVID. After
Oh.
all those years of lockdown, someone went to addiction. And so we're in a post-COVID world. So I'm really curious, and if I'm overstepping, you just say too personal, don't want to talk about it. But how, when, where, and why did the awakening come to you that you were judgy or were bossy or whatever with your siblings, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, I need to add some compassion into my siblinging, which is not a word, or just compassion in general, because a lot of our personalities are, it depends on our personality. How was that in your life? How was that evolution of like, I need to practice more compassion in my relationships?
Ah,
That was a
that's
long way to get to that question.
I do have to probably credit a little bit of my in-laws as well. I've been married for over 30 years, and my husband's family had a redemptive story. They came out of addiction and
Mm-hmm.
such. As a family, it's
Mm-hmm.
a really redemptive story, and there is a lot of compassion. They're not perfect people either.
We're
Um,
not. We're not going to be
right?
ever.
Yeah, but I think one thing, if you have people who've come out of addiction, there's a kind of like we're not going to fake it here. We're not going to pretend like we have it all together. We're not going to be the perfect family. We're just happy to be a family and not to have split up
Oh,
over all this, right? To happy to be a family. And
yes.
there's a certain compassion that I think that my husband carries with him that has rubbed off on me. So it's
I
really
love
kind of a
that.
slow
Hmm.
slow evolution away from let's try to be perfect and do everything right, and
Hmm.
like if you're not, then I'm going to judge you,
Yes.
to and that spirit still, that temptation still
Oh, yeah.
comes
Easy. I
into
can
my
do it in a
heart too.
second. Right.
Yeah,
In a
yeah,
minute.
it's right there, able and capable to being able to have that compassionate response, and that like I can empathize with what it feels like to lose something, to miss something, to
Ooh.
fail at something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the word, isn't it? Empathy. Hmm.
Mhm.
And I think I had a little formula in my head, which none of this is a formula, but it's brokenness. So I would
Mhm.
assume that his family experienced intense brokenness and contrition, and that
Mhm.
leads to humility, which leads to gratitude, which leads to I can't be so hard on everybody else because yeah, I just think it's the beautiful
Yeah.
process of, as you say in the book, spiritual formation. And if
Absolutely.
like my husband and I were talking this morning, you know, it is the hard places. It is, uh, we've been reading through First Corinthians 13 through every version. He started
Okay.
it without me knowing it. When I found out, I'm like, why am I not involved in this? And it's life changing. It is changing my life because you cannot
Mm.
read that chapter, the love chapter, First Corinthians 13, and even live it for 24 hours, 8 hours, six. Love is kind. No, it's not. No, love is patient. Don't think so. You know, when I was a child, I put away child things. Did I? Did I? I don't know. I'm still acting pretty childish. I mean, we've just laughed and really, it's like, oh. But this morning was, putting away the suffering that, when you've been wronged, which is what we're
Mm.
talking about
Mhm.
here.
Mhm.
And so I would love in our short time together here to go into chapter 2 a bit. Now, you weren't the primary author, I don't think. It gives credence
Mhm.
to one of your other authors, but I just want to give an understanding for everyone listening, a renewed understanding, because I feel like you all
Mhm.
really put down the foundational role of the family in a brilliant way. I will be using this. I will be quoting from this. It's just brilliant. The giant sequoia trees in California, it's written, are, Diane
Mhm.
wrote this, right? Am I right?
Diane Chandler. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
are an unspeakable sight to behold. I've seen them. Giant sequoias can grow upward of 300 feet, which is 26 stories, produce 18 to 24-inch bark, and live between 2,000 and 3,000 years. Oh my goodness, the Muir Forest in California is incredible. What accounts for their stability and longevity? I want to know this. I want an Isaiah 61 family that has been raised up from the ruins.
Yes.
Okay. One would
Yes.
think that sequoias retain deep roots to help them withstand unfavorable conditions. Surprisingly, they lack a taproot, which then their root system is between 12 to 14 feet beneath the ground, relatively shallow considering their height. But these roots reach out. Listen to this laterally 100 to 200
Yes.
feet and occupy up to 1 acre of earth. Come on, Diane. Thank you. Their
Mhm.
secret, an individual sequoia's tree's root system is interconnected with the root systems of other sequoias. Okay. What is a family, Jennifer, and why is that the metaphor that Diane chose if you would speak? Because you were all involved in
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
It's just
Absolutely. Yeah.
powerful. So
Yeah.
powerful.
I love that metaphor that she chose as well, because it really helps you remember that you are not just a tree standing in an empty lot somewhere with all the buildings around you and you're all alone. Really, we all live in a family together. And
Yes.
this interconnected root system can be nourishing to each other. It can be growth oriented, and it can be healthy, or we can, bring disease to each other, essentially, right? We can bring
Yes.
harshness to each other and harm to each other. And so I think that metaphor works so well in terms of thinking about the family and
Yeah,
how spiritual formation can fit. That chapter is on spiritual formation.
it
How
is.
do we grow a
Yeah.
healthy Muir Woods? If you've ever walked in Muir Woods or seen pictures,
Oh,
it's gorgeous there. And
it's
the
so
ability
pretty.
to, yeah, the ability for families to build something beautiful like that with a little cultivation, right? A little bit of experts.
Yeah.
They do have tree experts that come through there
Oh,
and help them
yes,
out, right?
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. And,
Mhm.
rangers and park rangers and all of those things. It takes work. It does take work. I love that. Give me some practical tips. Give me some nuts and bolts, if you would, because you do in the book, to maybe just one thing that we as women, aunts, mothers, grandmothers, let's focus in on the
Mhm.
mother.
Yeah.
Where do I start? I've
Yeah.
listened to this. I've recognized, yeah, I'm judgy. Hmm. Yeah, I'm holding a grudge.
Mhm.
Or my children are grudging each other and it's paining my heart. I must have done something wrong. Where did I go wrong? So now we're judging ourselves and our parenting. Where do we start? Help.
Yeah. I think I would start first of all with sitting for a moment and saying, there's a storm. Let's call a spade here. If I can mix metaphors, there's a real storm here. This is what the storm is. We're going through a change. We're going through a move. We're going through a health problem, or we've finally decided to give a name to the disability that, mom, dad, child has, or
Mhm.
whatever's happening, right? And here
Adult
we are, we're
child is
facing it.
coming out, an adult
Or
child,
adult
a
child is
married
coming
adult child.
out.
Correct.
Exactly. All these things happen in families. They happen to everybody. And being able to say, okay, let's recognize the storm, and then let's ponder, what do I usually do whenever I'm in a storm? How do I usually handle it? Where do I need to go for help?
Yeah.
And I say to go to Jesus, right?
First.
First, there's a comfort there, and there is a compassion there that is available to us at 2 a.m. and at 2 p.m. and
Mhm.
all day and all night. And then God gives us each other too.
Mm.
So the people in the family gives us experts in the larger communities that we live in that we can go to, whether that's pastoral care or psychological care or medical care if it's
Mhm.
needed, so that we can flourish and we can grow those muirwood trees, right? And
Yes.
the best we can. Doesn't mean disease isn't going to come. Doesn't
Oh, it
mean
will.
storms
Mhm.
aren't going to come through and knock a tree down now and then and make difficulty. But the root system goes on, right? The
Yes.
boat goes on. If I can mix metaphors again,
No, they're great
um,
metaphors. They're really
yeah,
clear to me anyway. Very, very clear.
Mhm.
Yes. Hmm.
Yeah. So we can find a harbor
Yeah.
and to traverse the crisis together.
Yeah. And you told us in the very beginning, you were in a balcony and Kelly noticed. You know, I might be someone that goes, not my monkey, not my circus, because I'm overwhelmed myself. But as we do our own spiritual formation work
Hmm.
and we really hone in on God's strategic purpose for our lives, then we can learn to navigate in a state of not overwhelm anymore, but in overflow. So that's very, very important. I'm in the midst of learning that myself. And you do encourage us to locate the painting. So I promise to end with this. You on page 9, responding to family storms, you say this chapter began by describing Rembrandt's painting, The Storm on the Sea of Galilee. Don't you worry, Heartlifter. I will leave a link to the one I think is the most beautiful, and then you can find your own if you don't like it. Consider locating this painting online, then zoom in on your screen, look closely, and ponder how you have responded when faced with ministry storms. What character do you most resonate with? I love this so much. You just read the rest of the instruction on page 9 in the book and look at the picture. Soak in the picture. Isn't this called Visio Divina? I think.
Ooh, wow.
I think that's what it's called.
You got the term.
When you look at a beautiful painting or something beautiful, a piece of art, and you immerse yourself in that, just like if we were doing Lectio Divina and we immerse ourselves in scripture, you immerse yourself in this Visio Divina and take some time, take a month, a week, I don't know, and just look and see who you might currently be in that photo. Are you the one retching over the side?
Right.
And see if, well, I know he will, because it says God always speaks to a heart that's seeking after him. So
we know that.
Is that a good place to start too?
I think so. I think that's a good place.
Okay. Well, Jennifer, Jen, Dr. Ripley, all the many hats that you wear. Thank you so much for your time today, because we are in a crisis. So thank you again. Thank you again and again and again.
Thank you, Janelle. This has been great.